Jalen Green dropped the ball tonight in a real way. To his credit, he did demand the ball times, but time and time again, he failed to make the right plays. And I'm just kind of confused because Jalen isn't like this super efficient or consistent player, which has been highlighted a ton in this series. So what is he actually good at? Why are the Houston Rockets paying him $106 million for the next 3 years? You see, the reason he's a threat on the court is his freakish athleticism. So you'd probably think surely the most athletic guy on the court during this entire game spent a lot of time attacking the paint, especially considering the fact that the Warriors primarily play small ball, and for a large majority of the game, the Warriors paint protector was a 6'6" Draymond Green. The logical thing would be to go at him, right? Yeah, well, that's not at all what happened. What I find to be my least favorite thing about Jalen as a player is his shot selection. He gets away with shot chucking here and there because, again, he is so physically gifted, but the guy is just nowhere near where he needs to be when it comes to understanding the game, especially for someone who's now in year 4. I'd actually argue that Amen Thompson is already a smarter player than he is. I put out a tweet earlier saying that it's almost like the Rockets had a secret meeting where they all agreed not to pass Jalen Green the ball tonight, and now that I think about it, I wouldn't even blame them if they did. I guess what I'm trying to say is I never want to hear Jalen Green mentioned in the same sentence as the great Motorcade Cunningham ever again. He finished with 8 points and 4 rebounds. On the Warriors side of things, some cool stuff happened. Draymond Green Superman punched Fred VanVleet in the face, which was kind of crazy. Buddy Hield had the best game of his life, and it happened to be during a Game 7 elimination game. Buddy had 33 points and made 8 3-pointers. And thank God he did, because otherwise NBA media wouldn't have known how to act. Mad Dog would have been on First Take first thing in the morning, talking about how he never wants to hear Steph Curry mention the same sentence as the great Magic Johnson ever again, and how Curry losing the series would have been even worse than when LeBron lost to the 2011 Dallas Mavericks, which I partially agree with because I'd much rather lose 4 straight games and get swept, because at least then, you know, the opposing team is just a clearly much better team than you. But to be up 3-1 with much more talent and blow that lead not once, but 2 separate times, that would have been bad. That would have been really, really bad. Also, it would have looked pretty insane if the guy you want to convince me is the greatest point guard of all time got outscored by Buddy Hield and Amen Thompson in a Game 7 elimination game which they lost. But let's forget the hypotheticals, because that's not how this game ended up. Despite having an incredibly ugly first half, I think he only had 3 points. He really came alive in the fourth quarter when they needed him the most. And that's all that really matters. Curry finished with 22 points, 7 assists, and 10 rebounds. As for the rest of the Warriors, Kuminga got to touch the court tonight, which is something. I'm not sure what he must have said or done to Steve Kerr to get this kind of treatment in the first place, but this is where we're at in 2025. Coaches aren't giving their second or third leading scorers playoff minutes anymore, I guess. Kuminga can't even take this personally because we did see what Steve Kerr did to Jason Tatum coming fresh off an NBA championship. Anyways, Kuminga only played 7 minutes and didn't have an opportunity to really contribute in a real way. But Jimmy Butler, on the other hand, had 20 points, 7 assists, and 8 rebounds. And although he was good statistically, I'm kind of left feeling disappointed in him tonight. We were promised playoff Jimmy, and although I've seen flashes of that, I've yet to see 48 minutes of playoff Jimmy like we did back in Miami. There were plenty of times tonight where I felt that he had a good look to get to his signature middies, but he was just passing and passing and passing. And hey, to his credit, it worked. His teammates made great shots and they won the game. But in the later rounds against teams like OKC or the Minnesota Timberwolves, who they play next, I don't see this working too well for the Warriors. If Golden State wants to be true contenders at some point, they're going to need Jimmy Butler to become much more aggressive. And if a Game 7 elimination game didn't make him feel like being more aggressive, I don't know when he'll ever feel that urge. I almost want him and Jalen Green to swap brains. Draymond Green. Green did really well tonight. He did a good job containing Sengun. I think Sengun only had 21 points. Also, Draymond had himself a nice offensive game as well. He finished with 16 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, and made 2 3-pointers. Brandon Podziemski. B-Pause is pretty much a non-factor tonight. It's not so much that he was outright horrible, but more so it was just not his night. A lot of the shots he'd normally be getting went to the hot hand and Buddy Hield instead. Amen Thompson. Him and his brother have been getting a lot of love on social media last couple weeks, and honestly, they deserve every last bit of it. Amen Thompson put in a great defensive effort tonight as usual, but also despite him being the baby on the team, I feel like he understood the moment better than anyone else. He had the competitive juices flowing and you could see it on the court. The guy had a steal, a block, and 3 offensive rebounds. He's like a little more controlled Russell Westbrook, which is great, but what really shocked me tonight is the guy had a really good offensive game today. He had 24 points and 9 rebounds on 9 of 16 shooting and shot 6 for 6 from the free throw line. But unfortunately for Amen, it just was not enough as Buddy Hield and the Warriors had other plans. If you're the Houston Rockets front office, you're gonna have to start having some really uncomfortable conversations about this roster and whether or not you want to run the same team back or maybe even move guys like Tari Eason and Jalen Green. There's conversations about them wanting to get Kevin Durant this summer, and I think that would be a fantastic fit. I'm just not sure what young pieces they're willing to give up for a 36-year-old KD. If they can get the right package, I really love this trade, although they'd probably have to include a third team, but time will tell. Anyways, that's what I think, but you let me know if you think the Rockets need to consider moving Jalen Green in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn those noties on. Matista signing out!